And hello again. Next we're going to take a look at the Arverni in Dark Mod. Overall, the Arverni haven't changed too much. Their most expensive and most powerful units are a bit more expensive, so you'll have to pay a bit more for the Oath Zone and the Noble Horse. Uh, in terms of melee infantry, they have Celtic Warriors, and I've made the Celtic Warriors a bit better in melee attack and melee defense. And I've also raised their charge, so they're in most cases they're a cost-effective unit, and if you want to hold an enemy, Celtic Warriors in a shield wall are fairly good at that. And the Naked Warriors haven't changed too much. I've added them added a small shield armor bonus to them, so they're a bit more durable, not by much though. And I've raised their charge a bit, so they're a good option against most heavy infantry. But for God's sakes, don't send them against spikes because they'll die really quickly. The Oath Zone, they're quite a bit weaker than what they used to be. And I think if we compare them to what they are, yeah. So they've lost 4 melee attack, and well, that's about it. I think they've lost 4 melee attack and maybe 1 defense. Yeah, so they're good, but they're not that good, especially with the lower units getting better, and they're a bit more expensive. So they're still one of the strongest melee units in the game, but they can quite easily be swamped. Then, next to the Celtic Spears, we have the Levy Freemen, who have, I think I've increased their base morale a bit. Actually no, I haven't increased their base morale, but they have a slightly better charge and a better melee attack. Yeah, by 4, so they're a bit more effective. They're pretty good at killing cavalry, especially if you send them after your own cav. The Spear Warriors I've increased their base morale, their melee attack and charge bonus, so they're a pretty good unit overall, especially for killing cavalry. I think, especially if you send them up against shock cavalry as a follow-up troop, they'll do really nicely. And the Spear Nobles, they haven't changed much. I've slightly decreased their melee defense, but beyond that they're fairly similar. Yeah, and a -1 to melee attack as well, so they're a very good unit, especially against cavalry heavy factions. With the missile infantry, I've reduced the cost of Celtic Slingers, so they're quite cheap, as are the Celtic Youths, so they're a bit cheaper than before, and I think they have slightly higher morale as well. And the Celtic Skirmishers, they have 35 morale, so they're a little more reliable than the Celtic Youths. So they're especially useful if you're up against elephants, as they're less likely to just turn away and run as the elephants get closer. In terms of cavalry, the Arverni Light Horse are much improved. I've slightly increased their melee attack, and I think their melee defense is around the same where it used to be. Actually, I've reduced all melee defense of shock cav by -5 and increased melee attack by +5. So they have the same attack as the heavy horse, and slightly better defense, and they have great speed, so they're really good at dealing with skirmisher cavalry and just reducing enemy skirmishers, and good for flanking as well. The heavy horse, they're very useful as well. As you might see, they're a bit closer to Noble Horse in terms of stats. They'll lose out mostly on melee attack and charge. But they're a reliable heavy cavalry unit that'll do the job very cost efficiently. And the Noble Horse, well, they're still one of the best cavalry units in the game, so they're expensive, but you get what you want. And I've also increased the effectiveness of Frenzied Charge, so now it has 30 charge bonus, so it's a bit more deadly. Yeah, I could probably mention that I also increased the effect of Frenzy, so Frenzy now does 30 charge bonus. Yeah, but that's about it. And I could mention that I've added some sweet tooltips for the abilities so that you can actually see what they do. So it's still a work in progress and doesn't support localization. Overall, the Arverni, they're pretty similar to what they used to be. They're just not as reliant on their 3 elite units anymore, so a good Arverni army will probably mix troops of all categories, but they'll still be relying on their Oathsworn and Noble Horse to make those breakthroughs. But yeah, that's Arverni for you. So, they're a good faction.